I'm going to show you an innovative way to overcome a fear of public speaking. We're going to be looking at a powerful virtual reality speaking trainer called Ovation. We'll look at some published research that shows how practicing in virtual reality measurably reduces speaking anxiety. A few weeks ago, I did a video showing how Ovation can help you immediately raise your awareness of and reduce your filler words like because Ovation uses real-time feedback, and Ovation is also sponsoring this video. What I didn't mention in the first video is that one of the biggest benefits of using virtual reality to practice is that it helps reduce public speaking fears. Big picture, the basic idea is you put on the headset to practice in front of a virtual audience. You can speak impromptu by responding to Ovation's questions. You can also upload your PowerPoints or notes into Ovation and practice an upcoming speech. You can practice in different sized rooms with audiences who behave the way you direct them to in the program. There are lots of options, and it turns out that some of those options are extremely relevant to help you reduce your fear of speaking. Ovation also offers a desktop version, which is also great, but the research we're going to look at in this video is all about the benefits of practicing in virtual reality with a headset like this. I'll put a reference list to all the individual studies I used to prepare this video in the description below, as well as a link to Ovation's website so you can take a look at all the details. They have options for individual users and packages for organizations like companies or schools. In light of the research and my own experience with Ovation, I wanted to talk about 3 overlapping benefits. First, for the record, research shows that using a public speaking virtual trainer like Ovation helps reduce speaking anxiety, as I mentioned. The more you use the program, the less fearful and anxious you'll be about both the thought of doing public speaking beforehand, as you're waiting to do it in the days up to the event, and the in-the-moment fear of public speaking when you're doing it in real life. Part of the reduction in this fear is accomplished through what mental health professionals call exposure therapy. Let's say, for example, you were afraid of heights. If a counselor used exposure therapy, they might ask you to imagine standing on a small platform or ask you to stand on the first step of a ladder or a staircase, and then they would ask you to step down and you would see that nothing bad happened. They would gradually ask you to climb to higher steps over numerous sessions, and you would continue to see and internalize there's nothing to be afraid of. Over time, the positive exposure to this experience would gradually reduce your fear of heights. Now, that's a gross oversimplification, but virtual reality works the same way for public speaking fears. When we put on the headset and get in the virtual environment, we can both imagine doing it and practice speaking, and there are no risks compared to real life. Nobody's judging you. There's nothing to be embarrassed about if you make a mistake. You can practice with 0 negative consequences. In this study, with too many authors to mention, individually in the journal Cognitive Behavioral Therapy, researchers concluded that practicing public speaking this way resulted in a significant, large decrease in self-rated public speaking anxiety following the primary 3-hour session. During the 3-hour session in their study, for example, participants did approximately 11 to 12 speech exercises that lasted about 1 to 3 minutes each. In other studies, researchers took participants through several shorter training sessions, and they did various speech exercises like practicing a short message a few times. And this is exactly how I would recommend you use Ovation. If you have a speech you're getting ready for, you would upload your notes or your PowerPoint slides into the confidence monitors. You put yourself in one of the many public speaking venues the program offers, and you start practicing. You could practice just a few times in a row, and you can also spread out your practice sessions over the course of numerous days, which is what I recommend. If you do this, research shows that it'll reduce your speaking anxiety about your upcoming speech and about public speaking in general. What I love about the study results I mentioned is that even though participants only practiced in a virtual environment for a limited number of sessions, their fear of in-person public speaking was reduced. Now, practicing public speaking outside of a virtual environment can also reduce your anxiety. The trouble is, to make it realistic, you'd have to gather a cooperative audience of real people each time you practice, and there would always be that mindset of being judged by the real people in the room. Trainers like Ovation solve that problem and speed up the fear reduction process. You don't have to gather your friends or roommates so you can practice. You just put on the headset, get some reps in a short amount of time. Now, Ovation does provide lots of real-time and post-presentation feedback and analysis driven by AI, but that's for your own benefit. There are no real people in there. It's like a public speaking sandbox with a virtual coach. And I have found that Ovation's feedback creates a gamified feeling and experience. It feels much more like playing than working hard, even though you are working on a speech. The second takeaway from this research is that practicing in virtual reality can also build the speaker's confidence in their skills. Now, that may sound similar to what I just said about fear, but there is an important difference. On the one hand, reducing the fear of public speaking is about decreasing the apprehension a person feels about the experience. That's about their level of anxiety before and during the presentation. Their fears about facing an audience, for example. But now we're talking about a related benefit, which is increasing the confidence you feel in your actual skills. A study by Krozek and Muhlberger in the Journal of Scientific Reports showed this outcome. The way they helped boost the speaker's confidence in their study was by programming the virtual audience to be supportive. In Ovation, for example, you can make lots of adjustments to the way the virtual audiences react during and after your speech. You can make it so they give you good eye contact and have an attentive posture. You can adjust it so the AI questions they ask you after the speech are supportive rather than confrontational. You can even make it so they give you an ovation at the end of your speech. The authors said that more supportive virtual audiences resulted in a more positive evaluation of speaker confidence in real-life public speaking. So here's the tip. When you're using Ovations, be sure to make whatever adjustments you need to make your audience experience one that helps you feel supported, that creates that positive feedback loop that'll help you build your confidence. Third, practicing public speaking in virtual reality also translates to better public speaking, whether that's in person or online in platforms like Zoom. So on the one hand, reducing your fear and building your confidence are important, but trainers like Ovation can make you a better speaker overall. A study by Niebuhr and Mikulski showed that practicing in virtual reality may even create better performance compared to practicing alone in a room in real life, which is how most speakers prepare. A possible reason for these shorter practice sessions is that practicing alone in a room can feel dry, mechanical, and unmotivating. Their study showed that over 4 sessions, people who practiced alone in a room experienced what they called erosion, or the deterioration of their progress. They spent less time practicing, and their improvement degraded with each repetition. Now, I'm a huge advocate of practicing multiple times. It's always better than just winging it. The trouble for many people is that the more times they practice, they end up rushing through it, and the quality of those practice sessions decreases over time. It takes a lot of discipline to practice at a high level and sustain your energy when you're alone in a room. Studies show that when participants practice in virtual reality, their sessions got longer each time. Each practice session improved in overall quality. Speakers developed more fluency in their message. They took a more audience-centered approach. They had a more conversational style, and they even used more eye contact and better hand gestures each time they practiced. My belief as to why this happens is that you don't have to work to imagine there's an audience. When I've used Ovation, I tend to give it my all. The experience feels real, and that makes me want to keep practicing and do better each time. This video is mainly about reducing fear and building confidence, but improving your actual skills is all part of that positive feedback loop. When you improve your real-life speaking skills, you'll have less to be anxious about, and you may even start to look forward to presenting instead of avoiding it. As mentioned, Ovation has options for individual users, for organizations, companies, or schools. I'll put a link to their website and also their LinkedIn page so you can get in touch with them directly if you have any questions. If you represent a school or a large company, they will likely be able to do a Zoom demo for you. In summary, there's a growing body of research that shows that practicing in virtual reality measurably reduces your anxiety, builds your confidence, and helps you improve your actual skills in real life. I don't believe this will ever replace speaking to real people, and it's not meant to, but it is a powerful way to help you conquer your fear of speaking. Until next time, thanks, God bless, and I'll see you soon.